The bed was made. This is Neil's Han Dynasty. Please like, share, and subscribe. Buy some silver, some platinum, and some crystallized osmium. You notice there's no gold there. There's reasons for that people just don't understand, don't accept, and call me stupid for saying don't buy gold. Well, there's reasons Neil does things, and they're not stupid. They're logical and sensical. So if I say them and you say, oh, he's stupid, I know you don't know me, but you really need to do more research if I say it and you don't believe it. I've been doing reports on West Africa and theft of gold by Dubai and all these other countries and all this other stuff. And that was from Burkina Faso, excuse me. So this report is about, oh, you gold bugs are going to hate this one. Sell some of your gold stocks right now. That's not advice at all. That's just off of this. Barrick Gold is fixing to lose some stock shares along with lots of other big gold miners.
Mali's military leader, Colonel Assimi Goïta, is making bold moves to reshape the country's relationship with its natural resources, particularly its vast gold reserves. Since taking charge in 2023, Goïta has been shifting the balance of power, aiming to ensure that Mali reaps more benefits from its own wealth. For years, foreign companies, especially those from the West, have dominated Mali's gold industry, extracting immense profits while the nation itself struggles economically. Goïta's demand for greater returns from Mali's gold is a clear declaration. It's time for the country to reclaim what's rightfully theirs. But is that really asking too much? These foreign corporations have long enjoyed easy, cost-effective access to Mali's gold, often leaving the country with little to show for its rich resources. This imbalance came to a head recently when Mali's government took a dramatic step by seizing 3 metric tons of gold, valued at $245 million, from Barrick Gold.
Did you hear that? Barrick Gold is not getting 2.5 metric tons of their gold. Barrick is one of the largest gold mining stocks out there, companies. Let's replay this for you. Hold on.
A Canadian firm that
listen.
A dramatic step by seizing 3 metric tons of gold, valued at $245 million, from Barrick Gold, a Canadian firm that has operated in Mali for over 20 years. So what prompted Mali to seize this gold, and how has Barrick Gold responded? Let's delve into the details. On January 12, 2025, news broke that Mali's authorities had confiscated 3 tons of gold, transporting it to the capital, Bamako. This gold, taken from a mine near Kais in the western part of the country, was moved swiftly by plane and truck. The seizure wasn't a sudden move. It followed a warning issued earlier in the month by Boubacar Moussa Diarra, Mali's senior investigating judge. The letter clearly stated that the gold would be seized, signaling the government's firm stance on taking control of the nation's resources. Barrick Gold, understandably, is in a state of shock. A senior manager from the company disclosed the events, detailing how the seizure unfolded and expressing concern over the situation. As Mali asserts its right to benefit more from its gold, Barrick Gold and other foreign firms operating in the country now face a stark new reality. The era of unchecked access to Mali's riches is coming to an end. Why was the gold seized? The answer lies in a growing conflict that has simmered since 2023 between Mali and foreign mining companies, including Barrick Gold. At the heart of this dispute is Colonel Assimi Goïta, Mali's military leader, who, much like President Traoré of Burkina Faso, is deeply committed to his country's independence and sovereignty. But for Goïta, sovereignty isn't just a political ideal. It extends directly into Mali's economy, particularly its rich mining sector, which paradoxically leaves the country among the poorest in Africa. Mali is one of Africa's top gold producers, sharing this distinction with Burkina Faso. However, Mali's wealth doesn't stop at gold. The country also boasts significant reserves of manganese and lithium, 2 critical minerals for the global shift toward cleaner energy.
This is how I keep my home smell-free.
Despite their potential, these resources remain largely untapped. Gold, however, is the cornerstone of Mali's economy, accounting for 25% of the national budget, 70%.
Okay, first off, those other 2 minerals he mentioned.
These resources remain largely untapped.
Hold on.
And with Burkina Faso, the country also boasts significant reserves of manganese and lithium.
Manganese and
for the global
lithium.
shift toward cleaner energy.
Those are untapped. Those two minerals, very necessary minerals, are untapped in Mali. Mali is the poorest country on the planet. They've got three natural resources: gold, zinc, and lithium. The latter of the two are untapped in that country. So theoretically, there's a possibility that if that country gets control of their natural resources and their government and functions as a government, they'll be very, very wealthy and no longer the poorest country in Africa or in the world. They'll probably be like in the mid-range. And I know that sounds funny, like, oh, Neil, that's stupid. Well, hold on a second here. If you buy a stock at the very bottom and it goes halfway up, what happens? You make money. Okay, look at Mali as a stock if you can't comprehend what I'm saying. They're at the bottom. They're at the absolute low. They're so undervalued, as Lynette Zhang says, buy undervalued, sell overvalued. Well, if you look at countries right now, Mali is the most undervalued country on the planet. Out of 187, it is 187th. According to these people that I've been giving these reports on, they're saying this. So that means if they have untapped resources that are needed for the world to continue, and they're regaining control of their gold resources, that means they're not going to be the poorest anymore, which means their stock is going to rise. So any investor in that stock as it rises will gain financial benefit. So if you can find a way to invest in Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Ivory Coast, these countries that are fixing to take their independence and their wealth back from being fleeced, you're going to make money. Side note, let's go back to the story.
Despite their potential, these resources remain largely untapped. Gold, however, is the cornerstone of Mali's economy, accounting for 25% of the national budget, 75% of export earnings, and 10% of its GDP, according to a former mines minister. Clearly, gold is not just a shiny metal for Mali, it's a lifeline. Yet for decades, Mali's gold mining sector has been dominated by foreign companies, such as Canada's Barrick Gold and B2 Gold, Australia's Resolute Mining, and the UK's Hummingbird Resources. These firms have long extracted Mali's wealth while the country remained mired in poverty. For Colonel Goita, this imbalance is unacceptable. To achieve true economic independence, he believes Mali must take control of its gold sector. In August 2023, Goita took a decisive step by enacting a new mining code requiring all foreign companies to comply. But this move wasn't made in a vacuum. Before drafting the new code, an audit of the gold mining industry was conducted, and its findings were startling. Every year, Mali was losing between $500 million and $1 billion in mining revenues due to existing arrangements favoring foreign entities. Imagine the transformation if that money had been funneled into Mali's economy.
$1 billion a year funneled into the country or funneled out of the country. I think that makes a big difference to the poorest country on the planet.
The impact could have been monumental, potentially lifting the nation from its economic struggles. Motivated by this stark reality, Goita's new mining code allows the government to claim up to 35% stakes in new mineral projects, ensuring that more revenue from Mali's most critical industry remains within the country. So, the gold seizure was not just a random act, it was a deliberate move by a leader determined to reclaim his nation's wealth. Goita's vision is clear. Mali must benefit fully from its natural resources. The conflict between Mali's government and Barrick Gold has escalated sharply due to the enforcement of a new mining code introduced by Colonel Assimi Goita. This code has become a flashpoint, with Barrick Gold refusing to comply, arguing that its operations should be governed by the older regulations in place when the mines were initially developed. Let's break this down. Under the old mining code, Barrick Gold enjoyed significant advantages. They owned a whopping 80% of the Lulo Gumkoto gold mine, leaving Mali with a mere 20%. On top of that, Barrick was exempt from paying taxes during their operations. Naturally, this arrangement was highly favorable for Barrick, but less so for Mali, which struggled to benefit fully from its own resources. When the new code was introduced, it demanded that foreign companies, including Barrick, surrender a larger share to the Malian government, which could now claim up to 35% stakes in new mineral projects. This meant that Barrick would have to give up a significant portion of its control and profit.
Combining a phone stand with a Bluetooth.
Unsurprisingly, Barrick resisted this change, as it would diminish its dominance and increase its financial obligations to Mali. Faced with Barrick's defiance, Colonel Goita took a decisive and forceful approach. By September 2024, Malian authorities arrested 4 senior executives from Barrick, accusing them of financial misconduct. This bold move signaled that Mali was serious about enforcing its new laws and reclaiming control over its natural wealth. If you're still watching this video, it means you love it. Be sure to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Have you done that? Let's move on. The Malian government has claimed that Barrick Gold owes approximately $512 million, primarily in unpaid taxes and dividends. However, some Western media outlets have suggested that these accusations are baseless, accusing Mali of falsely charging Barrick Gold with financial misconduct. If these allegations were indeed unfounded, why would Barrick Gold offer to pay $370 million? This gesture raises questions about the accuracy of the media's portrayal and hints at deeper complexities in this conflict. Predictably, the media often paints the military leaders of the Sahel in a negative light, aiming to undermine their credibility. In response to Barrick's resistance, Mali took decisive action, including restricting gold exports and issuing an interim order on the existing stock at the Lolo Gunkoto mine. This move further disrupted Barrick's operations and halted the export of gold. Faced with these aggressive measures, Barrick's CEO, Mark Bristow, issued a stark warning. The company would suspend its operations in Mali unless the situation was resolved. Perhaps Barrick expected this threat to pressure Mali into retreating. However, unlike a civilian government that might have yielded, Mali's military regime remained steadfast in enforcing its new mining regulations. This determination underscored Colonel Assimi Goita's commitment to the new code and his broader vision for economic sovereignty. The situation escalated when Mali seized 3 metric tons of gold from Barrick, a significant blow that forced the company to officially suspend operations in Mali. In a statement, Barrick expressed regret over the suspension and disclosed that the Malian government had transported the seized gold to a custodial bank, further tightening its grip on the company's assets. Not backing down, Barrick Gold sought legal recourse, filing an arbitration request with the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes, ICSID, against Mali for demanding a larger share of mining profits. This move raises important questions. Will this legal battle lead to a resolution favorable to Barrick? Will it force Mali to back down? Though Barrick might have a strong case, arbitration could drag on for years, with no guarantee that Mali would comply with the final ruling. If Mali defies the outcome, Barrick would bear the brunt of the losses. Analysts suggest that halting production at Lolo Gunkoto could slash Barrick's earnings before interest, taxes and amortization (EBITDA) by 11% in 2025. While Mali would also face revenue shortfalls, Barrick stands to lose more, given its substantial investments in the mines. Mali, meanwhile, holds a powerful card. It could revoke Barrick's mining license and award it to a company willing to comply with the new rules. Interestingly, Barrick Gold isn't the only mining firm locked in a revenue dispute with Mali, indicating a broader shift in the country's approach to resource management. Back in October 2023, the Malian authorities took a bold step by arresting 3 employees of Resolute Mining.
I did a video on that,
including its CEO, Terence Holohan. These executives were held for over a week until the company agreed to pay $80 million up front.
I did a video on that. If you search in my video log in my library, you'll find it. I did a video on that exact story.
Committed to another $80 million in the following months. This move sent a strong message about Mali's new stance on its natural resources. In contrast, other mining companies like Vancouver-based B2 Gold Corp and Allied Gold Corp managed to strike new fiscal agreements with Mali around the same period, without any dramatic confrontations. They saw the writing on the wall and quickly adapted to Mali's new mining code, ensuring they could continue their operations without interruptions. These firms demonstrated a strategic approach, understanding that compliance was the key to maintaining access to Mali's rich mineral resources. So why is Barrick Gold refusing to follow suit? Despite the clear message sent by Mali's actions, Barrick remains defiant, unwilling to adapt to the new rules that demand a fairer share of profits for Mali. Meanwhile, the Western media is spinning its narrative. The Globe and Mail, for instance, published an article framing Mali's actions as a direct consequence of Russian influence. According to their report, Mali's military junta, which took power in a 2021 coup, is clamping down on foreign mining companies, allegedly with Russia's backing. They suggest that the junta's moves are not just about reclaiming control over the mining sector, but also about consolidating power with Moscow's help. The article even speculates that the Malian government might expropriate the Loulo-Gounkoto mine, one of the world's largest gold producers, as part of this broader strategy. It draws a parallel with past incidents, such as the Wagner Group's seizure of a mine in the Central African Republic, implying a similar scenario could unfold in Mali. This narrative, however, seems far-fetched. The connection between Mali's assertive stance on its resources and Russia appears tenuous at best. Yet, it fits a familiar pattern. The West often views alliances with Russia as a threat, using it as a lens through which to interpret all actions taken by governments like Mali's. Ultimately, the Western media's portrayal seems more like an attempt to discredit Mali's leaders by linking them to Russia, reinforcing the notion that any partnership with Moscow automatically makes a regime suspect. This skewed perspective overlooks the real issue at hand, Mali's pursuit of economic justice and sovereignty over its resources. It's truly frustrating to see how some in the West still believe that African nations can't make decisions for themselves, or that they need constant guidance from outside forces. It's as if they think Africans are incapable of handling their own affairs.
Anyhow, that's enough about that story. I think I enlightened you guys slightly as to what's going on in the mining sector and how Barrick Gold, I don't know if they've reported it or you've seen it in the stock price, just lost 3 metric tons of gold because they didn't want to do as other companies did and renegotiate for a fairer market share for the company that they're getting the resources from, which is totally acceptable. There's nothing wrong with that. The gold belongs to Mali. Corrupt leaders were bribed into giving these companies these great, profitable deals that make them wealthy. It's just a correction to doing the right thing. Unfortunately, for everyone who owns gold stock in Barrick, oopsie daisy. But hey, if you knew about it in advance, you probably already sold your Barrick's gold stocks. They just lost 11% of their gold exports or gold holdings. So I imagine their stocks probably already fell, probably 11+%. But if you watch my channel, you would have known that in advance from the story I did earlier, where a couple months ago when Mali general arrested those other people from those other companies and they paid the $80 million and then corrected their behaviors and contracts and made a more fair agreement. So it was coming to this. So anyhow, Barrick just lost 3 metric tons of gold and they probably won't get it back unless they change their evil ways. Have a great day. Invest properly. Watch out for charts and buy silver, platinum, and crystallized osmium. Gold's kind of sketchy right now.